Friday. Thanks for joining me today. So I want to talk about having an aging narcissistic parent. And I'm sure it's something that you have either dealt with, are experiencing, or will be experiencing. And in my case, I'm currently experiencing that. And I have a narcissistic mother who's in her 70s. And it's just the last couple of years, she's got, a lot of kind of cognitive, mental stuff is happening. And I'm in a unique situation because I just recently figured out that my mother's this raging narcissist and is the source of a lot of anguish throughout my life. And prior to knowing this, my wife and I decided to move to my parents' property, into their guest house, and help them on their property and raise our family there with them. The idea was we'd have a family compound, we'd be living together. You got grandma and grandpa, and then I have my wife and my 2 kids, and it would be happy and amazing. But what's interesting is the very first thing my dad said to me was, I just hope we can all get along. And that was interesting because he knew inevitably that my narcissistic mother would, torpedo the whole thing. So, we moved there with the intention of supporting my folks in their old age because they're both retired, and that's really what kids can do, is support your parents, give them a comfy retirement, and be there for the kind of golden years of their life, and share the experience of your children, their grandchildren, with them. But I knew my mom was weird, and I never, since I was a kid, I hadn't lived with her. But moving back, she had full access to me, and I had quit drinking and quit smoking weed, so I was fully sober, and I had really been confronting all the kind of emotional trauma I'd experienced, and I'd been working through that, processing it, really to get to the truth of it and understand it. And so now that I'm back, and she has 100% access to me, the bombardment that I would get from her was really intense. And so any opportunity, to do her narcissistic witchcraft, she would do. And so to me, I'm being fully sober, and then I'm having memories of experiencing this as a kid, and it's all kind of culminating as her being the source. And so I decided to, sit down and have a conversation with her and just try to reason with her. But you can't reason with a narcissist, and of course it failed miserably. But the whole thing is now, because financially we can't afford to buy a home right now, and we're locked into this living situation. And now, my parents are aging out. My narcissistic mother is getting older, and there's more signs of cognitive, mental decline, physical decline are starting to happen. And so now I'm confronted with this decision. It's like, do you do all you can and compromise your own mental health and feelings and well-being to assist this person? Because one thing that the narcissist, and my mother is great at this, is she's instilled this concept of this debt that I owe her. Like, it's always been, it's one thing she used to say is, my life is ruined, my life is over because of you. And it instills the sense that now I owe her some great debt because I was born. And so this ingrained sense that I owe her, and now in her old age, I have this feeling of, I owe you because, you know, I took your life away, whatever the hell that means. So you either compromise your own well-being and then care for this terrible person, or you completely abandon them and just leave and just cut them off 100% and just wash your hands and you're done. And my wife and I have talked about that to great length, and we have tried and thought about it and reasoned it out as far as, you know, moving out of here, finding, you know, a cheaper place somewhere else to have a home. And man, it's really hard. I mean, I know we could do it, but, you know, I'm born and raised in this area. I have a huge network. You know, my business is growing. I'm in a unique industry. Anyway, so the thought of that, of completely uprooting, and plus uprooting the children, you know, when they're getting, my daughter's getting stable in her school and her friends and her way of life, so we really want to maintain that. So what I'm trying to figure out and imagine and create is this concept of, I still want to be an empathetic person to my narcissistic mother. You know, the narcissist really wants to destroy people's sense of empathy because they don't have that themselves. And if they could turn you into a mean, bitter, miserable person, then they have won. And she has tried that, but that's not happening. I'm still going to remain strong in my convictions of my empathy towards other people. And so I can still be empathetic towards this narcissistic person, as well as maintain my own mental health and the health of my own feelings and my emotions. So that is possible. So I'm trying to navigate that. And currently, the way I'm doing it is just really trying to master that gray zone with her. And that's what I've got is, so I don't talk to her. Any communications through my dad. If I see her and like she sees me, then I'll say hi just to be polite, but I keep everything short and I don't give her access to me. The only access that she has to me is visual and auditory. So, and it's really interesting what she's doing. So she's currently she's been mounting this assault against me since I've called her out and I've blocked access to her, where her new delusional story is how scared she is of me. She's scared of me, and I'm so angry and mad all the time, and she is fearful of me. So when she sees me and there's not other people around, she does this thing where she ducks and hides and kind of like cowers away in fear, and so she makes sure that I see that, and to obviously make me feel guilty. And she's trying to gaslight me by me questioning my reality of am I a good person or not? Because when you see someone cower in fear when they see you and sulk away, you think to yourself, like, why is this person scared of me? So that's her, like, she's dying on that mountain. She's like making this stand against me. And that's every time, man. Like, I was just the other day, I walked out to my, I have like an outside shop, and I had to get the truck started, the battery was dead, whatever. And she loves to kind of root around in my things when I'm not there. She's always like taking little things from me, which whatever, I don't care. But so she thought I was gone, and I go back there to get the battery charger, and she's there rooting around through my shit, and man, she saw me and instantly snapped into that. Oh, like, what am I? Like, I'm gonna attack her? Like, I don't. This is like, that's the craziest thing, man. And so she did her whole thing, and I just acted like I didn't see her. But she really acted it out. The narcissists are great at telling stories, and they're great at acting. And so she fully acted it out and tried to make me feel guilty and gaslight me to make me feel like a horrible person. But obviously, I just kind of laughed, because one of the other big tactics that I always keep in mind is these narcissists, especially the aging narcissistic parents, they're just deranged children. You know, they're just like, because children just do things and they don't really know what they're doing. And ideally you're not like yelling and freaking out at your kids because they're making a mistake or acting crazy, but it's kind of that sense with the narcissist. She's just a deranged child, and it's like I don't let it bother me, but it can and it does, and I just have to kind of keep that in mind. So the other way that she really tries to torment me and my family is she always is verbally announcing herself when she kind of leaves her house and she's near our cottage. So she'll sing these like weird songs with strange tones that aren't pleasant but really loud. She'll whistle these strange melodies, like right by our door. And she's done stuff where she stands at the cottage, at our little house, and she yells at the house and like yells crazy stuff when she thinks we're not there. But like my wife has been there, and then she says, "Yeah, your mom's yelling at the cottage again." And that does represent this person aging. Obviously there's mental decline occurring, and then with that, they're going to lose the ability to regulate their emotions for whatever capacity that she had before. So, what I'm predicting is she's only going to experience more cognitive decline, physical decline, and I think it's just going to get crazier. And also, she's in collapse. All of her friends have abandoned her. She's shit on everyone in her life, and she has like one friend that comes around like maybe once every few months, and it's this lady, and man, they have a weird dynamic. I don't know, I've observed them before, and it is not healthy, and it is strange, but that's the only person that comes around. And now that I've isolated myself from her as much as possible, because I was her main supply for 40 years, she's in a huge deficit as far as her energy and her supply that she requires to, fulfill her demented narcissistic quest. So the fact she's collapsing, she's aging out, all these mental, physical declines are occurring. I'm just trying to project into the future so I can understand what to expect, and then try to be prepared for that so it doesn't catch me off guard. And I've been having this feeling and this kind of vision of her, like, it's kind of sad and dark, but it's like her on her deathbed and her wanting to like share some like devastating secret with me that she's been keeping, and like that's her last thing. If she can just share this devastating secret that she's been carrying this whole life before she goes, as like the ultimate like nail in the coffin against me. I just have that feeling, and I'm not going to give that to her. I'm going to avoid giving that to her as much as possible. And so it kind of speaks to, is the release for the narcissistic abuse victim ultimately when their narcissistic abuser is gone? And I don't know. I can't speak to that, but it's sad to think, especially when it's a parent, that you will get a sense of relief and comfort and ability to move on once this person is out of your life. And like I said, that's sad when it's your parent. But, I'm going to stay steadfast in my own convictions as far as remaining empathetic and doing what I feel, I can still hold those values and morals that I want in my life, to be a good person, help other people, and still be empathetic and grateful for what's happening in my life and learn from it. And then just try to find that balance of protecting myself from this person, but still, supporting them through this period in their life of the old age as they're aging. Because, at the end of the day, she is my mother. If it wasn't for her, I wouldn't be here. And, that is profound. I am so appreciative of my life and that I'm here and I'm able to share stories and learn and teach, be a father, be a husband. So that is a great amount of wealth that I've been given, and I want to honor that. So that's how I'm trying to navigate this, this narcissistic abuser as a parent who is, going through old age. So I hope it was helpful, and let me know what you think. Okay, thanks for watching.